Oh my God, I can't even. These two, Meghan and Harry, are the worst.
You're in America now, and we don't give a shit about you. You're not our fucking prince. You'll never be king. We hate your wife. Stay at home in your $29 million mansion, all right?
Harry's digging an even bigger hole for himself here.
Well, I think he's dug so deep now, he'll strike water any day now.
I just can't stand her. I just think she's such a phony.
Something felt off, like something big was about to explode. The second whispers started drifting through Westminster, people started paying attention. At first, it looked like the usual chaos. Prince Harry versus the crown again, same old cycle, right? But then, boom, a real petition drops. And suddenly, this isn't just random online noise or some celebrity meltdown. This hit different and fast. Now it's stepping straight into serious political territory, and people in power are actually talking about Harry's royal title like it could be stripped away for real. This came straight out of the House of Lords. That's top-tier authority in the UK stepping in, not gossip blogs or palace insiders spinning stories. This is official, and the tone shifted quick. The whole conversation is now locked in on one thing, a real push to remove Prince Harry's royal title, the last thread still tying him to the family he walked away from. And if anyone thinks this is just headline drama, think again, because it's way deeper than that. This is about power, legacy, and a massive question hanging in the air. Can someone walk away, move across the world, build a whole brand off that royal name, and still keep a title linked to the crown? This isn't just family tension anymore. It's turning into something way bigger, almost like a constitutional clash unfolding in real time. The same country that once admired him, the young prince walking behind Princess Diana's coffin, the image that stuck with millions, is now looking at him differently. The soldier prince people once respected is now at the center of a storm that just keeps getting louder. Now the spotlight is hitting a completely different scene, and this time it's not tabloids throwing shots at each other. This is Parliament stepping in, and that flips the whole situation upside down. What started with that whole Megxit drama has now blown up into something way bigger, a full-on crisis about loyalty, identity, and exactly where Prince Harry stands in all of this. If this petition actually goes through, it's not just about losing a title, it could mean losing the last official link he has to the monarchy, and that's massive.
Prince William, he's reportedly furious after it emerged that Meghan Markle is still using her HRH title despite agreeing to drop the title when the Sussexes left royal duties.
Meghan Markle has been very brazen recently with the use of the HRH.
Before getting deeper into this situation, make sure you hit like, tap subscribe, and stay locked in, because what's coming next in this story is seriously shocking. At first, it sounded like straight-up clickbait, the kind of headline people scroll past because it feels way too extreme to be real. But this time, it's not rumors, not internet chatter, not some trending hashtag fading out in a day. This is happening inside the House of Lords, one of the oldest pillars of royal tradition in the UK. And now there's real talk about stripping Prince Harry of the Duke of Sussex title. This isn't social media outrage or online debates. These are senior lawmakers stepping forward and putting the issue right in the spotlight. These aren't random commentators chasing drama. These are figures who deal with history, power, and real decisions that shape the country. And here's the twist everyone keeps whispering about. Harry is reportedly furious, not just a little annoyed, not caught off guard, but seriously angry, because that title is way more than just a name. That title opens doors, Hollywood deals, business opportunities, elite circles wherever he shows up. Strip that away and a lot of that influence could disappear fast, just like that. And this move doesn't look like some soft warning either. For people watching closely, it feels like the first domino tipping in what could become a much bigger collapse of Harry's royal identity.
She's slaughtered this weekend because there were some business cards in the back of one of her podcasts. She's still using her royal title, HRH, despite our late Queen warning her again.
Watching Parliament move like this feels like the establishment finally drawing a hard line. The prince, who was once celebrated everywhere, could now be staring down one of the toughest moments of his public life. And this isn't just one politician trying to make noise. This is gaining real traction. The petition behind it didn't crawl forward, it exploded almost overnight. Tens of thousands of people added their names within days, from Sussex all the way up to Scotland. Voices across the UK started getting louder and louder, and at that point it stopped looking like background chatter and started looking like a real movement. And Parliament isn't brushing it off either. Both the House of Lords and the House of Commons are being pulled into the conversation, and that's when it became clear. This situation is getting very serious, very fast. And here's where things turn even more intense. The push against Harry isn't just public frustration or heated talk anymore. They're pointing to an actual law with deep history behind it. That's how serious this law really is. And now critics are dragging it right back into the spotlight, saying Harry's actions might not break any rules on paper, but to a lot of people it feels just as damaging to the institution itself. Across the country, frustration hasn't just appeared, it's been building for a while now.
There are growing calls to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. The New York Post is reporting that locals in the UK say enough is enough, especially after Prince Harry's disastrous BBC interview, which aired hours after he lost his appeal for taxpayer.
Many people are tired of watching someone criticize the monarchy while still benefiting from the prestige that comes with a royal title. To them, this goes beyond hurt feelings or simple disrespect. It's about fairness. Can someone step away from royal duties, speak out against the system, and still carry that royal branding everywhere they go like nothing changed? Here's where everything takes a sharp turn, and the controversy truly explodes. After leaving the UK, Harry didn't fade into a quiet, private life. Instead, he stayed in the spotlight and became increasingly outspoken, especially during interviews and public appearances in the United States, and that raised eyebrows for a lot of people watching closely. Traditionally, members of the British royal family are expected to stay politically neutral, but critics argue Harry stepped into conversations that carry strong political weight, and that instantly made the situation far more complicated than just a family disagreement. Some lawmakers and commentators have started throwing around a pretty sharp phrase, title laundering. What they're getting at is the idea that Harry might be using the influence of a royal title while speaking on political and social issues overseas, and that's where things get uncomfortable for a lot of people. For traditional royal watchers, that crosses a serious line. British royals have long avoided getting pulled into political debates abroad, yet Harry still carries the Duke of Sussex title, and that connection to the crown is exactly what keeps this whole situation heating up more and more by the day. This isn't quiet talk behind palace doors anymore. Members of Parliament are stepping out publicly and asking a direct question. Why is a British duke living overseas weighing in on American political debates? That question alone has turned up the pressure in a big way, because once a royal title starts being seen as a political tool, critics warn the entire system that protects the monarchy's neutrality could begin to shake, and that's a risk they're clearly not willing to ignore. From Harry's perspective, he may see himself as simply speaking openly about issues that matter to him. But inside Parliament, some leaders are reading those actions very differently. To them, it feels like the boundaries around royal titles are being pushed, tested, maybe even stretched too far. Lawmakers are digging into historic laws, royal traditions, and the limits of what someone with a royal title should or shouldn't be doing. At the same time, many observers are pointing out that since stepping away from royal duties, the expectations around Harry's role have become more complicated than ever.
It's not a financial thing. Working royals do not profit. They do not use their names to make money. It's an honour to have an HRH. So the fact that she's continued to use this HRH when they've been instructed not to, I think is absolutely infuriating in Buckingham Palace. It was agreed with Queen Elizabeth that they will not use the HRH title. That is a long-standing precedent, and there's good reason for it. Basically, the HRH is only given to working royals and senior members of the royal family.
Harry hasn't stayed quiet. He's been speaking out again and again about the monarchy. From the explosive Oprah interview to the Netflix series and then his memoir, Spare, he's put deeply personal stories about royal life right into the spotlight. At first, millions were locked in,
curious and ready to hear his side. But as time went on, critics started saying the constant stream of revelations, especially about family tensions, was pushing things into uncomfortable territory. Some long-time supporters have even started to shift, saying the repeated criticism of family members, including his father, his brother, and others inside the royal household, no longer feels like healing. Instead, it's starting to look more like an ongoing public feud that keeps getting bigger and louder. And the more these stories spread, the more pressure builds around Harry's royal title. Now, Parliament is saying out loud what many across the UK have been thinking for a while, and the message coming from critics is direct. You can't step away from royal duties, publicly criticize the institution again and again, and still hold on to the same royal title like nothing changed. Lawmakers and commentators are arguing that Prince Harry has continued using the Duke of Sussex title while living in California and speaking openly about the monarchy. And to them, that creates a serious contradiction. Some members of Parliament are even describing the situation in dramatic terms. They're saying this isn't about criminal behavior, it's about symbolism, image, and respect for the institution that granted the title in the first place. For years, the monarchy itself stayed mostly quiet while all of this played out. But now, with politicians stepping in and the conversation heating up, it's starting to look like patience in parts of Parliament is running out, and fast. And when lawmakers start speaking this openly, people don't just listen, they lock in and pay very close attention. That's exactly what's happening now, and the reaction across the UK has been impossible to ignore. Public opinion has clearly been shifting. Several polls suggest a growing number of people believe Harry should no longer hold the Duke of Sussex title, and some surveys even show more than half of respondents backing that idea. Among older and more traditional voters, those numbers climb even higher, which makes the situation feel even more intense. But here's what really stands out. People in Sussex itself, the very place tied to his title, are speaking up too. Residents have been signing petitions and voicing their opinions, and one comment in particular spread fast because it hit hard.
But of course, the real measure of success for both of them will be the same as it always has been. How much damage can they inflict on our royal family, on our monarchy? I said it before, I'll say it again tonight. King Charles should strip them of all their remaining titles and cast them out from any connection to the royal family. How could any of them trust them, as far as I could throw them? Because without it, they're just whining millennial windbags with a permanent victim complex, knowing that victimhood is what makes them all the money.
One resident said, "He doesn't represent us anymore. He represents himself." And that line stuck with a lot of people. That moment captured exactly how many critics now see the situation. While Harry still draws attention and support in parts of the United States, back in the UK, the mood has become far more divided, and in some circles, much colder. For many critics, the frustration isn't just about Harry choosing to step away from royal duties. Most people understand that was his decision. The real issue, according to commentators and lawmakers, is what came after. They argue he left the royal system, publicly criticized it, and still continues to benefit from the recognition tied to the royal name. Even some people who once defended Harry are starting to change their tone, and that shift is getting harder to ignore. They're saying this isn't about one interview or one controversy anymore. It's the buildup, years of headlines, major interviews, personal revelations, documentaries, and media appearances that keep circling back to conflict with the monarchy. Many observers are now saying the public mood hasn't just shifted, it's hardened. The tone coming from voters is becoming more direct, more blunt, and harder to ignore. The message being echoed is simple. If someone chooses to step away from the royal institution and openly challenge it, they shouldn't still carry a title that represents it. That feeling is spreading fast, and it's exactly why the pressure building inside Parliament isn't happening in isolation. Lawmakers aren't moving randomly. They're reacting to a wave of public frustration that's been getting louder across the country. And then there's another layer to all of this, the business side, which is adding even more heat to the situation. Harry and Meghan have signed major media deals in recent years, including projects with Netflix, Spotify, and publishing ventures. Critics are quick to point out that the titles, Duke and Duchess of Sussex, keep showing up in headlines tied to those projects. And to skeptics, that doesn't look accidental, it looks strategic. That perception is what's pushed this whole situation closer to a boiling point. Some critics have even started using another sharp phrase, title trafficking. What they mean is the idea that royal status is being used to boost books, media deals, and public visibility in a big way.
I would love reconciliation with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has. You know, he won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile. If they don't want that, that's entirely up to them.
Documentaries, media deals, major appearances, all happening while presenting a life that's supposed to be more private. That contradiction is exactly what critics keep pointing at, and the argument has been spreading everywhere. Talk shows, newspapers, even political circles. To those critics, the situation doesn't add up. They say the public isn't ignoring it anymore, and the questions are getting louder. Another issue that keeps coming up is the continued use of royal titles within the family. Even after stepping away from official duties, those titles still show up in headlines and public conversations again and again. For many lawmakers, royal titles were never meant to be used as marketing tools. Historically, they stand for duty, service, and a direct connection to the monarchy itself. So when critics claim a title is being used mainly for media influence, the reaction becomes strong, really strong. For traditional royal watchers, that crosses a line they take very seriously. What makes everything even more intense is the response from the palace itself. Buckingham Palace has mostly stayed silent, and that silence is only adding more tension to a situation that's already under heavy pressure. King Charles III hasn't stepped in publicly to defend Harry, and that silence is standing out more and more. Many royal observers believe it's not accidental, it's calculated. Instead of looking like a father stepping into a personal conflict, the palace may be letting the wider system, Parliament, public opinion, and royal tradition handle the situation on its own. Then there's Prince William, who is widely seen as being focused on protecting the long-term stability of the monarchy above everything else. Reports from royal commentators suggest he hasn't pushed back against the political discussion either, and that silence is being noticed too. For him, and for many inside royal circles, this may not be about family drama at all. It's about safeguarding the institution itself. That shift in focus changes how this entire situation is being viewed behind the scenes. And if Parliament ever does move forward with removing the Duke of Sussex title, the impact wouldn't be small, it would be massive. This wouldn't just be a technical change on paper. It could completely reshape Harry's public identity and how he's seen across the world. Critics are now saying the entire image surrounding Harry and Meghan has been built more on royal drama than royal duty, and that claim is getting louder. The interviews, the media deals, the documentaries, many commentators argue that the royal connection sits right at the center of it all. In their view, the global fascination comes from that link to the monarchy. And if those royal titles were ever taken away, they believe the whole narrative would shift instantly. Without the Duke and Duchess of Sussex titles, critics say the story could look completely different overnight. Some even argue the couple would be seen simply as public figures sharing personal experiences rather than figures tied to a historic royal legacy. For some lawmakers, this isn't just about tradition anymore. It's about whether royal titles should continue to carry influence if the relationship with the monarchy has fundamentally changed.
A new poll by Find Out Now has revealed that most of the public is supporting the king in this family feud, ongoing family feud, after Harry's bombshell BBC interview. It follows the Court of Appeal's decision to not overturn the ruling on his security in the UK.
William is reportedly formulating a plan to finally strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH.
That's exactly why discussions in Parliament are now focusing on protecting the institution itself, and history shows this kind of move isn't impossible, even if it's rare. Back in 1917, King George V approved the Titles Deprivation Act, allowing royal titles to be removed from family members who supported nations considered enemies of Britain during wartime. That moment proved that, in extreme situations, both the monarchy and government can step in when they believe the integrity of royal titles is on the line. Moments like that keep reinforcing one message that royal historians repeat again and again. The monarchy as an institution always comes before any individual member. Now, some members of Parliament are openly questioning whether Harry should still hold a royal title, while living overseas and speaking critically about the monarchy. And they're not holding back. They argue the law already exists. Public debate is growing louder, and this issue deserves serious attention, not silence. If anything actually moves forward, it won't come from dramatic headlines alone. This would play out through formal procedures, debates inside historic chambers, legal steps, and decisions made behind closed doors. And if the Duke of Sussex title were ever removed, it wouldn't just be symbolic, it would mark a massive turning point in the long and complicated story between Prince Harry and the monarchy. After the interviews, the memoir, the podcasts, and even legal battles, many observers believe this moment could become one of the biggest shifts in the entire saga. For years, this conflict has unfolded across global headlines, but now it's moved somewhere much deeper, into political chambers and national debate, where the stakes are on a completely different level. If Parliament ever decides to act on the issue of his title, it would be a dramatic moment, one where a centuries-old system finally shuts the door on one of its most controversial chapters. That's how serious this is starting to feel. Critics argue Harry didn't just step away from royal life. In their view, he left and then kept publicly challenging the monarchy again and again, through interviews, media projects, and his memoir, Spare.
But she said she was in the trenches. She alludes to being in the trenches when she was in the British royal family. Girl, you lived in a castle. Like, you got a princess title. People were falling at your feet. People would run your bathwater for you. I mean, I could list the things, the perks. I could list them forever. The trenches, she has got to, the Delulu is on another level. Sometimes I envy it.
That constant spotlight on royal conflict turned him into a powerful global voice for some audiences. But back in the UK, it also sparked frustration and disappointment that hasn't faded. And now those emotions are growing louder, turning into real calls for change. Supporters still stand firmly behind him, saying he has every right to speak about his own experiences. But critics see this as something much bigger than personal disagreements. To them, this is about legitimacy, identity, and who truly represents the values tied to the monarchy. That's why the petition and the political pressure building around it feels so symbolic to many people adding their names. For those backing the movement, it's not just about removing a title. It's about sending a clear message. They believe Harry no longer represents them or the institution he once was part of. And that belief is what's driving this entire situation forward with serious momentum. Meanwhile, the monarchy itself has stayed mostly silent. But in royal history, silence can speak louder than anything else. And now, with Parliament fully pulled into the debate, the next chapter of this story could reshape Harry's relationship with the crown in ways nobody saw coming. Just a few years ago, this kind of moment would have seemed unthinkable, but now it's unfolding in real time, and the entire world is watching closely. One move, one decision, and everything could change overnight. If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who's been keeping up with all this royal drama. And don't stay quiet. I want to hear what you think. Should Harry keep his title, or is it time for it to be taken away? Drop your thoughts in the comments.